Welcome back to the channel, guys. You're watching Trust in Rock with me, Vanessa Warwick, and I'm joined once again by Stephan and Gregg from Ray of Light, and they're joining me for my popular metal memory segment. And guys, this is where I ask you, and I know, Stephan, you've got decades of metal memories to choose from. I'm going to ask you to choose just one metal memory from your, music career that really kind of sticks in your mind, that was a pivotal point in your life. I know it's very hard, but if you had to choose one, what would it be, Stephan?
What's forever locked in my memory is, that saying, the first cut is the deepest, and it was one of my very first experiences, rock and roll experiences, when I was actually literally a kid. We were at the AC/DC concert, at the Highway to Hell tour, and it's actually funny to say, I was one of those guys who saw Bon Scott live.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think I was 14, and I've been a few days on this planet actually already. And I was 14, and we were standing in the back of the hall, and it was Judas Priest actually was supporting them. They were supporting AC/DC, but I was not interested in Judas Priest at all because I didn't know them back then. I haven't even heard the name, but I had the AC/DC Highway to Hell album already, and I played it back to back, and then of course I wanted to hear all the hits, Highway to Hell and all that stuff, and then I was just not happy with. I was little, and I was 14, I was a little guy. And I really wanted to see the band. And so I made all the way, through the people, like big people, Americans back then, and I went to actually the front of the stage, more or less, and people were pushing from the back, and there were security people in the photo pit, and they were thinking, oh, there is that little guy, we have to take him out, because otherwise, that's not really good. And so one of the guys, a big guy, took me, he put me in the photo pit, and I was standing there watching AC/DC like, I could touch more or less Bon Scott's or Angus Young's feet, and I was just totally mesmerized, I stood there watching, from just like very close, and I could hear, it was my very first experience, all the sound, the PA, the lights, and when you experience it the very first time in your life, you're just totally blown away. And this is what happened to me. And then when we got out of the venue, I said to all the people, okay, that's it for me. I'm done with school and all that stuff. I'm going to become a rock star now. I'm going to go into I had a drum kit already back then. And then I started playing drums, rehearsing, practicing like crazy, But that was basically my most important rock and roll memory.
That's an amazing story, and I think it's wonderful that you found out at such a young age what you wanted to do, because a lot of people go through life actually not really knowing what they're going to do, and fortunately you also had the gift to be able to be a drummer as well. So that was an absolute cracking metal memory, Stephan.
It was the music. It saved my ass many times.
Yeah.
Psychologically, etc., etc. Yeah.
And Gregg, what about you? Have you got a metal memory to share with us?
Yeah, so I've been an absolute huge Kiss fan since I was probably 6-7-year-old. And the first chance I really got to see them was going to be on the Revenge tour in '92. And that also fell on the night before my maths GCSE exam. So I was told I couldn't go, but of course I did. And it was about an hour and a half from where I used to live. So me and one of my friends who was also at the same school, we got tickets and got on the bus, got there, went to the concert and got right to the front, got to see Paul Stanley and for the first time ever. And I was just completely starstruck. Then the next day, obviously, we completely failed our exams. We didn't have a clue what we'd do. We were so tired because we got home really late. And it just sort of, I suppose that just molded my life going forward, to be honest. I was never going to do anything other than music, and that's kind of where I took it from then on, really, that I really wanted to, just do it for a living full time. So yeah, and I did.
It sounds to me that both of you, it was a moment where you actually woke up
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because as you know, at that age, you don't have too much of an idea of what the possibilities are in the world.
No.
And you went to those gigs and you saw a possible life for you, which I just think is just so wonderful.
Yeah.
The interesting part basically is that there was a guy, when we were at that AC/DC concert, the guy who was in charge of us. And he said, oh my God, I mean, he hated it to be there. He just had to take care of us, you know, and he hated AC/DC, he hated rock and roll music and all that, you know. And then the guy said, when we left the venue, he said, those guys who played there tonight, they all will be dead in a couple of years, you know. All that rock and roll shit, you know, and look at all those drug addicted people and those alcoholics and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, you know, in my mind, I thought, shut the fuck up. And the worst part was coming 3 months later. Bon Scott really died. And I thought, what? But on the other hand, as I said, I mean, it's kind of rock and roll saved my life because it turned me on to that vision, you know. Mm-hmm. I suddenly knew what I want to do in life, and it saved me. And it was exactly the opposite of what that guy said, you know, that all those people, they are going to be dead in a couple of years and they all become alcoholics and drug addicted and all that stuff. It's all bullshit. You know?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me on Metal Memory. And I have done a full interview with Stephan and Gregg from Ray of Light, which I will link to in this interview. But for now, guys, thank you so much for being my guests on Trust in Rock. And I want to wish you all the very best for the future with the album Salute. And who knows, maybe we'll meet somewhere else down the rock and roll trail. And that would be wonderful to do that, to meet in person. But for now, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. And hopefully we will meet not in 30 years again, Vanessa.
Not sure I'll still be here in 30 years. Yeah.
You will see.